the county. All right, so with that, we're gonna move into nomination and election of our 2024 EEO AC Chair and Vice Chair. So the EEO, or the Equal Employment Office Advisory Committee, is a group of individuals who are charged with supporting the efforts of San Joaquin County in the area of fair and equitable employment practices. It consists of a department head, an employee representative, and 7 community at-large members. Sorry, I got all my notes here. Oh, here it is. So the role of the EEO AC is to review and provide recommendations on the EEO programs, EEO-related trainings and activities, assisting in distributing information to employees or the community concerning EEO activities, soliciting employee support to attend EEO activities, assisting in the promotion of the EEO-related activities and events, conducting outreach and supporting the EEO office in their outreach activities, and assisting with the preparation and delivery of the annual report to the Board of Supervisors in coordination with the CAO's office and the EEO program manager. As an EEO AC member, it is not only expected of the committee members to attend the meetings, but we encourage them to engage and participate in conversation, to bring their expertise, and also to be a champion of the work that we're doing, and so that we could build solid ambassadors and, realize some noticeable improvements in areas that are, I'll just say, that are lacking. But we want to ensure that there's equity across the board and that there's an equal opportunity for individuals at all levels. And so with that, I will entertain any nominations for our 2024 EEO AC Chair.
So I have a clarifying question. How long are these positions held?
It's for 1 year, but we are a little late this year in bringing somebody in because our last 2 meetings were canceled, so this should really happen at the very first meeting of the year. So this one would be for the remainder of these 6 months.
With that being said, I would probably encourage those that have joined recently to be vice chair or chair if they're going to continue past the 6 months.
Does anyone have a motion to recommend someone?
I missed something. My interpreter is not, with for the vice chair. We're not doing the top
So-
chair yet?
We're doing chair right now.
Okay, we're doing
Sure,
vice chair
you
right
can,
now. Okay.
yeah.
So, okay. So you're making a motion right now?
For chair,
Okay.
or you're making a recommendation.
I was thinking I could make a recommendation. Can I nominate myself?
Sure.
I can. Can I nominate that because I work with the public as well, and then I also am an elected official by the County Board of Education, Trustee Area 3. I have a lot of diligent and advocate for people with disability. I got awarded by the Assembly Carl Bourgeois, the City of Stockton, as well as the county and the state for acknowledging me as an advocate for people with disability, with deafness, blindness, wheelchair, mental health, and also some leeway of understanding where they're coming from and get the modification of accessibility as well. And I also work with the mayor tasked with person with disability. So I'm all well-rounded of people of disability as much as I can with the equal opportunity. Whether they've been retaliated or suppression, I understand that I've been a lot as a Latino, as a LGBT, as a gay man, as well as a with people with disability. So I've been, being suppressed for many nights. So I definitely understand how people feel as well too. So.
Thank you. And do I have any other recommendations?
I would like to nominate Nadia Stager as chair. She's been doing a fabulous job, and I don't see her doing anything less than stellar in the future.
Thank you, Sharon. And so,
Are you still being the chair? You're still interested in the chair?
right now.
Definitely. I'll withdraw my nomination. I don't mind having her in the chair. I thought she was done. No, that's okay.
But you can be,
Nah,
you can
you're
be vice
fine.
chair pretty soon.
I recommend.
Okay, so I have, just for the record, for the minutes, I have Douglas Vigil has at this time withdrawn his self-nomination. Sharon made a recommendation to have Naja complete the 2024 year. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay. Congratulations, Naja.
Thank you. That no was so quick. She was like, no. Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to continuing on, and I look forward to what we're going to accomplish for the 6 months and supporting the EEO office and the HR. And now we'll move into vice chair. Do I have any nominations for vice chair for 2024?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Vigil as vice chair.
I
Thank you.
second. I'm sorry, this is Kathy Medeiros. I would second that.
Thank you. Okay, so we have.
So the members have to, the members
it's
can, are the
it's
only ones who
it's
can second.
Medeiros.
Oh.
Okay.
I
Yes,
apologize.
thank you.
That's what I wanted to
you're
clarify. I was
quiet
like, is
now.
Ms. Medeiros?
You're fine, and thank you. Thank you. Now, next time we would like for you to go ahead and sign up and come on board and be a member up here with us, yeah. But, so did we have a nomination? I did.
So we have a motion to nominate Mr. Vigil as vice chair. Now we just need a second from the committee.
Okay. I'll second.
Okay, we have a second from Naja. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Welcome, vice chair.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, I look forward to working together.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
have our work cut out for us. So, we'll move on to the EEO program report. Constance?
Thank you. This is Constance Bibbs with the EEO office. As of June 5th, 2024, in fiscal year 2023-24, the EEO office has received 52 formal complaints and 29 informal complaints, compared to the 19 formal complaints and 26 informal complaints received in fiscal year 2022 through 2020. This is an increase of 80% in total complaints received. There are 53 EEO-related complaints currently in some phase of the informal or formal complaint process, and the protected categories and/or conduct currently at issue are age, ancestry, race, medical condition, gender expression, sex, sexual harassment, marital status, color, national origin, physical or mental disability, political affiliation or belief, religion, creed, discrimination or unequal opportunity or treatment in the workplace, discrimination, inequitable practices in the workplace, unprofessional conduct by supervisors, managers, and executive management, and retaliation. Some of the recurring themes we are seeing in the complaints received are retaliation for speaking out about real or perceived unfair or poor labor practices, discrimination or unequal opportunity or treatment in the workplace, communication breakdown or lack of respectful communication, bullying or feeling targeted, racial insensitivity and/or implicit and unconscious bias, favoritism based on unprotected characteristics, and unprofessional conduct by supervisors, managers, and executive management. Currently, EEO has one request for an appeal hearing. And the 24th Annual Diversity Luncheon, there'll be more talk about this later, but we are, if the committee does decide to vote to have the luncheon this year, we were able to reserve a date at the Ag Center for October 18th, 2024. So if that vote goes through today, that is a date that we have reserved. I do want to remind everyone on the committee that every new member is supposed to go complete the government leadership training compliance class, and this training is designed to assist and ensure individuals in understanding their roles and responsibilities of being a committee member. And as such, the county requires all committee members to attend this training within 90 days of appointment, and our office will reach out to individuals who may need to complete this training. My understanding is that there is one more training for this year, so anyone who has not completed that training does need to sign up for the next training. And ethics training, the county also requires all committee members to attend ethics training, and our office will reach out to individuals who may need to complete this training as well. The EEO office has updated the EEOAC roster. Every member should have received an emailed copy of that roster, and we've also updated the 2024 EEOAC calendar. This concludes the EEO program report.
Thank you, Constance, and thank you for that report. I just wanted to, one part just stood out. You had mentioned that there was some of the themes were unequal opportunity in the workplace. That's where we come in, right? How do we make that, how do we bring that equity? How do we help people feel like they have the same opportunity as the person next to them for that job that they're interested in? And how do we support people so that they're able to be empowered and equipped to be able to go for some of the jobs that are available? So, do we have any questions or any comments for Constance for her EEO program report?
Quick question. So I know there's an increase in complaints. Don't know if there's a reason why, but is the training that we have, I'm assuming it's sufficient, but is there a trend in these complaints where maybe training is not sufficient? Maybe there needs to be kind of a focus on specific areas of that training?
Good question, Abe. One of the things that I believe could be significant is that from 2020 to current, we are only offering classes online right now, and it's a self-directed course. I believe that based on what I've seen with the cases coming in, that there, does seem to be a need to kind of revisit possibly having in-class training for a lot of our supervisors, managers, and, directors. And so that's something that I believe we're going to be looking at, kind of reinstituting some of the in-person there. I think that there may be a breakdown with receiving that information only through an online format in a self-directed format. That's a class that does lend itself to maybe some in-class discussion. And so I know that we are looking at that. And I think just and possibly some in-person training for general staff as well, but certainly in the area of offering classes, in-person classes to our managers and supervisors. I think that will be something that will be beneficial and might be a reason why we do have an increase in complaints.
I would also just quickly say, one of the things that you're going to find too is over the last 4 years, we've kind of been in this COVID sort of shift where we had a lot of people who weren't necessarily in office, and so we have a lot of people returning to office. So that often would add to that too. I've been reading a lot of studies that that's been happening, and that's been kind of a growth trajectory in other areas as well. Because as people are returning to work, right, and they've maybe been out of the office for a while, they're coming back into the office with a different mindset of work behaviors that they didn't have to necessarily associate with their home life, and so there could be some differences in that shift as well. So that's just one. I mean, we're never going to really know the why, right? But in trending and what I've been seeing, that's kind of one of the things that people have been noticing across the board is just upticks in that over the last year versus the last 3 years, because over the last 3 years, people have been just slowly getting introduced back into the workforce. So.
Yeah, I did want to add, yes, and so in the past, we did provide a report to this group regarding the trends and kind of what we believed was maybe the cause for the rise in complaints. And what we saw before, as Oriana said, before the pandemic and people being allowed to telework and things of that nature, the county was on a rise in their cases, nothing to this extent, but as she just said, in looking at the numbers, it does appear that, and it was predicted that after everyone returned, that we would continue on that rise, and so the numbers are kind of reflecting what we've kind of known would happen if everyone, was back at work and things of that nature, that it would continue to rise. It's just that at this rate, does seem a bit, I won't say alarming, but it does seem a bit unusual.
I think too, there's also this empowerment piece that people are kind of feeling, because people are more vocalized now than maybe they were 5-10 years ago with just the political climate and everything happening. So it may be that the reporting would have been the same all this time, assuming that people felt comfortable and confident enough to step forward and actually speak their truths, their versions of their truths, right? So again, I think there's just so many things, and we're going to continue to keep doing what we can do on our end to try and mitigate some of that. But with outside influences and just real worldly things happening, I think that we're just at that point in time in just space everywhere, not just necessarily here at San Joaquin County, where people are just kind of stepping to the forefront, and all of these changes that are going to be made, we'll probably start seeing that continue to climb over the next few years until we as a society can figure out a way to sort of even tone our progress in what we're doing. And so I think that that's going to continue to probably uptick and rise over the next couple of years, I would guess.
Okay, hello, my turn? Oh, thank you. I'm gonna be guessing, okay, there's no, you're giving your oral presentation, right? Oral presentation, right? So you're telling me what's happening. But do you have anything that I could read what you're saying, to follow along what you're saying? Because I have no clue what you're talking about, because what you're talking about, you're all over the area. I don't know what you're referring to. Are you concerned about retention of employee coming back? Are you talking about losing employment coming back? Are you concerned? there's a lot of things that was talked all around that, like during COVID, we were not used to going there, stay home, and we didn't want to go back to work, and we were afraid to be together and all that stuff. And now we started going back to work. But the people that had the job, did they lose the job? Did they had seniority? Did they had what? So and then also did talk to a lady named Bibi Didi, yes, on the phone regarding our responsibility as a board not to miss more than 3 months. And if you're not, the people will have your job to keep going every month that are missing like 6 months, out of a whole, I mean, who are really serious about making things going instead of waiting all this time for 6 months, and then we have to start all over again, and then we have to extend it. And I just think it's possible that it's only fair for everyone who's not really serious about coming to the meeting to resign or recommit to the board. Same thing with employee as well. You know what I mean? As far as that, when they take the ethics exam, because when I take the ethics exam, it's boring. You get the internet, and it doesn't explain to me. It just got the people talking to me, but it doesn't have any example. It's just correct answer. Okay, well, I'm fine, and you're done. You're finished. You're done in at least 45 minutes. So that's another thing that I'm concerned, because what I'm hearing is a lot of things going on all at once, and we're not pinpointing just an area. You know what I mean? What you're looking at, and I don't know what you're seeing. What you're saying, I don't see it. I only see a lot of things going on in your department. That's all. I'm just saying that. That's all.
So I don't want to assume, but it sounds like what you're making a request for is some sort of, in the program report, something documented that goes out to you guys that lists maybe what those numbers are, or something that you'll be able to identify. Because what happened was Constance was reading the program manager report, and then I believe it was Naja had a question that alluded to, or maybe it was Abe, somebody alluded to, why do we think those numbers are the way that they are? And so we were making some inferences on that, not necessarily speaking in fact, but just what we've noticed in trends around EEO currently. And so I could understand where you may have been, confused about where we were in the program, but it sounds like there's a request to have something documented from the program report on that
Right.
piece.
Yes, I do want to see that.
Okay.
Because when you talk, we'd like to hear that. We'd like to see it. And if it's wrong, that's okay. A lot of, oh no, this is incorrect. We have the updated one,
Yeah.
That's okay. But we need to just to kind of follow on what you're talking about, and that way we just kind of focus on, okay, this is what you're talking about. Okay, I got that. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that. That should be a lot easier for us. Instead of being word of mouth, because words, you can throw a lot of words and you just kind of think of something else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all.
And then one of the other things I wanted to address that you commented on was the ethics training, right? So as a county, we offer 2 versions of ethics trainings. There's one ethics training that's mandatory, it's required under AB 1234. So Assembly Bill 1234 says every board, commissioner, department head, assistant department head, and certain staff are required to take this ethics course. And so that online course that you all would take is something that is given by the state. So we don't own the content on that.
Okay.
We, as our staff, have a separate course that was developed for public service ethics, which goes into a bit more detail with a lot of examples from like news clippings of this is why this is unethical, that sort of thing. So we do have that version that we require our staff to take. So every staff member is supposed to take that. Commissioners, boards, those individuals aren't taking our employee-based public service ethics course, but they are required to take the AB 1234 legally required course. So we do offer our staff different versions of the ethics course. It's just the boards, commissioners, and that sort of thing that are taking that additional ethics course. That's more just, click here, yes or no.
So how many ethic courses?
Two.
Because I already took it with other board members, but now it won't, I think I overextended. It won't let me because I know I have to have an ethic course for you guys. But it won't let me go through 1, 2, 3, it won't let me go in.
Okay,
For
and we
the-
can connect with you offline about that for yours specifically so that
Okay.
we can figure out how to get that. Because if you've already done it for another organization, you can send us the certificate and we'll accept that here as well if it's been within the last 2 years.
Okay, all right, great. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much for that. And also to, Douglas, to your point, when we go into these committees, we're gonna have extra opportunity to look at, the reports and numbers and kind of dig deeper into it, so that'll help us as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, so Ms. Oriana, would you like to,
We're actually on Constance EEOAC roster.
oh, I thought you went through that already, but go ahead.
I did just happen to mention it in the EEO program report, but basically, I'll just say it again. We've updated the EEOAC roster, and we've updated the 2024 EEOAC calendar. All the members have been provided with that.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Oriana.
All right, my turn now. So we're gonna just take a quick review of the 2022 through 2024 EEOP objectives. So in the program report that goes out to everybody and it gets approved by the Board of Supervisors biannually, is it? Biannually. There's a section in there where we try to discuss some objectives that we have as a committee and as an EEO department, rather. So the EEO department, the Equal Employment Opportunity Unit within Human Resources here at San Joaquin County, comes up with this list of goals of things that we really want to try and achieve through the year. And I'll try and talk slower. I know I'm going fast. So I just wanted to go over these because we are very close now to the September 2024 end of time for these objectives. So I just wanted to name a couple of things before we go over them. So number one is we've actually had quite a bit of transition with our support staff and just with our support in general in our EEO unit within HR over the last 2 years. So we've had several staff come and go during that time period. We've also been without a program manager for that same amount of time period. And so while these goals were goals that we wanted to try and hit all of, with the limited resources that we've had within that unit, we haven't been able to hit the targets that we wanted to within that time frame. So a lot of this will probably be carried over into the next year, but we have hit some things. So I wanted to really highlight the areas that we've done pretty well in. We have the EEO office goals in the packet. So it talks about the office will accomplish the following goals. I'm gonna skip over 1 and I'm gonna go down to 2. It talks about providing EEO-related education and training to county employees, which I know we've already touched on a little bit today. But there was a goal to research, develop, and implement a training program on unconscious or implicit bias for managers and supervisors. So I would say that we've kind of halfway hit that target. The staff development unit has created an unconscious implicit bias course that we have rolled out and trained just a few times, but mainly to our human resources personnel staff. So our employment services staff have received that. We've taught it to another department that I can't think of off the top of my head at some point, and our HR management team at another point. So that is something that the curriculum has been developed, but it hasn't necessarily been fully rolled out to managers and supervisors on the much grander scale at this point. And that was for 2A. If you go down to 2C, research, develop, and implement a training program on how to request a reasonable accommodation in the workplace. Staff development unit along with our leave management unit did create and develop a training for that we've conducted for one of our county departments already. We are going to take that curriculum and work with county council, who also has this as one of their goals. So we're going to try and tighten it up and make it stronger before it's fully rolled out to all county departments. But it's something that we've worked really hard on so far, and we're gonna essentially pass the torch to county council to do what they need to do in that area, so that we can get that completed and launched at some point soon here. D, so B2D, was continue to research, develop, and implement relevant and effective training programs to promote equal employment opportunity and diversity within the county workforce. So that's something that we continually do. We teach diversity, respect, and inclusion 26 times a year at minimum, oftentimes more than that throughout the year. But it's taught at least 26 times to every new employee who comes through our door. So at all of our new employee orientations, that diversity, equity, and inclusion, also the sexual harassment discrimination prevention course is offered at that same time. So having it available online means it's also available to anybody at any given point in time. But we're constantly and continuing updating that information so that it is relevant to the time period, and relevant maybe to things that are going on. So we're continually addressing that. And so I just wanted to point out that that's something that we've been able to accomplish and will continue to accomplish. Probably a goal that's gonna just remain there in perpetuity, because we're always wanting to stay ahead of the curve on updating our curriculum. I also wanna point out B4B, the development of a collaborative website with SJC Engage that promotes the county's EEO programs and the diverse culture of our workforce. We've made a lot of strides on that by creating an EEO AC webpage on our main county website. So one of the things that we were charged with in this particular calendar year, when I met with you all some time ago, was to create a website that contains information on the EEOAC. So biographies of each of you. Just gonna drop that for those of you who have not submitted your biography yet, please do so right away so that we can get your photo and your biography on that website. But we're really still continuing to work on getting things updated on that website. So all of the agendas and meeting minutes and that sort of thing are available so that anybody can go to that EEOAC webpage and see those items. And that was a brand-new webpage that we created. It had never existed before, so that was a huge goal and accomplishment that we had. The other one that I want to point out is B47. Advise and support departments and employees on EEO-related issues. That's something that Constance and her team of, Constance, I'm just kidding, that team is continually working on and doing. They will continue to do that, and that's probably gonna, again, just be one of those carryover items, because we just do that as our role in human resources, but particularly for the EEOAC staff, or the EEO staff. And then sponsoring countywide diversity events for 2023 and 2024. We were able to bring back the diversity luncheon last year in 2023, which was amazing. We're gonna be voting on that again for the 2024 period, but it was a goal. I think that the future goals would be to promote things even outside of that, to try and offer other opportunities. And we've definitely had other opportunities where we've brought in diversity and had those events where we've kind of piggybacked and tagged on to certain events that we've done throughout the county. So that's one area that we will continue to, I'm sure, utilize and grow with. And then goal number 10 is to prepare and deliver an annual report to the Board of Supervisors in coordination with you all. So that's something that will be very soon going out to the board. One thing I want to highlight there is, I know that we've talked about this in the past as well, is really trying to get support from you all to show up to that event, to show up to that Board of Supervisors meeting where the EEO report gets approved. It's really good to have the EEOAC members in the board chambers when that's being approved, so that if the board has any questions, you guys are the ones that are advocating for these changes and for things to happen, right? And so it's really, I think, supportive for the staff to know that this is coming not just from staff, but from a committee that sits behind us, right? And so to have that sort of power presence there, I think is really important. So this is really kind of a call to action also for you as members to be there that day for the board meeting that we introduce that to the board. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Oriana. What a great, great report. And we are looking forward to being there to support when the report goes to the Board of Supervisors and coordinating with you to make, just make it as great as possible. Very exciting that some of these goals were able to be reached or are working in progress. I know it's been very tough. COVID just put a twist on everything for us. I did highlight a couple that I'm interested in us focusing on, and maybe that's partially where the EEOAC members can look at, but really helping to develop workshops, seminars, events to help research for those additional effective training programs that promote equal employment opportunity and diversity. I did want to ask where number 9, so this was B49, sponsor the countywide diversity events. And you spoke about the luncheon. Is there a budget or are there other diversity events that happen that we could look at how to engage the community, engage others so that we can just like maximize some of those events with?
Yeah, I think that the way that the county sponsors that is just through staff resource. So there's not necessarily budget per se. We do utilize the money, whatever comes in for what we're purchasing the food when people buy the tickets. So for ticket purchases and that sort of thing, but there's no budget set aside, right, Constance, for the EEO luncheon?
The EEO luncheon does not have a specific budget. The EEO office does not have a specific budget for, the programs that would come through the EEOAC. However, I believe that there are portions of the EEO budget that can be used to promote EEO-related activities. For the most part, right now, we are able to use some of those monies towards the EEO Diversity Luncheon. However, that budget does not allow for food, and that's why our members, county employees, do pay for their own lunch.
Question?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I liked the presentation when it said increase awareness, education, and expert and efficiency of a Department of Equal Coordinator in the handle on information complaint by continuing to provide EEO training to the Department of EEO Coordinator. Where is this? It comes from the county or from the state or?
So essentially, we have our EEO coordinators. So those are individuals at every single site that help to support the process of EEO complaints and that sort of thing. So a lot of people that are online right now, we have a couple of our EEO coordinators who are present on the Teams meeting. So
Can you move the chair all the way over there to the corner of the table? Look at me, right there. The white table. White table, yeah, get to the corner. Thank you, I don't have to go like this. There, Kathleen. I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. So essentially, what's happening is that the EEO office trains the EEO coordinators on how to file these complaints and their role and process for their specific jobs that they're doing for the county. So HR trains them. We have had some lag in that training. My unit, which is staff development, and Constance in EEO have been communicating to work on a much more solid strategy for that, to have like a pre-recorded training for EEO coordinators that they can just go back in and watch, and just little videos and modules to help support that training. So that's really what this goal is, which hasn't been fully realized yet, which is why it will be one of those that we continue on to the next.
Okay, and the second question, and I'm gonna, Dad, I know you have the data between, like the white male, Asian male, black male, and number 9 page, it said 3 reasons employment separation in January 23rd to December 20th. And I know that there's female in the 443 loss and male loss or decline. But are you also have transgender worker as well as staff as well? Are you an expert in acknowledging what their needs are and what other accommodation from between those type of that does exist in the real world as well between women, men, and transgender, three different categories.
Reporting out on that, right, Michael? Do those come in your numbers? Yes. Okay, so we haven't gotten to that presentation yet. That presentation is gonna happen next. And so he'll be able to address which categories are currently covered. And so there may be some gaps, which is why we have this conversation about how do we capture that information in the future. So I'll let him address that when he gets to his presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and if I can just take one step back, I did want to go back to the diversity luncheon. So where I understand that, I was really looking at other events across the county, other events that are promoting equal opportunity so that they're coming here so we can get some really quality employees applying and coming here and staying and, looking at that retention. So when I was talking about a budget, I was kind of meaning like, are we able to work together to plan some events to get more, the diverse individuals?
So it sounds like essentially talking about employment services area, so our area for hiring, not necessarily our EEO unit, which would be, within the same scope, yes, but different conversation with a different group of individuals. So if that is something that you wanted to do as a committee, is try and figure out a way to partner with our employment services office to offer some sort of outreach programs or diversity fairs or events so that we can get recruitment events. It sounds a little more like that's what you're referring to. Then that is something that we can try and connect with. We can have you all connect with if you wanted to build out a group or a committee, subcommittee of who would be the ones that can be in conversation with that. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. It was a great conversation there with lots of information, and we look forward to continuing to work to achieve these goals. And we have plenty here, so we'll be working together to prioritize which ones we feel are ones that we can address throughout the end of this year, and then come up with a 2025 plan as well. And now it's time to look at some committees. So first off, we'd like to establish an EEO plan subcommittee, which this committee would review the EEO plan, look at, provide any recommendations for modifications or language, anything that we see within the plan that we feel we have questions or want to provide any input on. And so I would like to see who would like to be part of that EEO plan subcommittee. And so we welcome you, public, to be part of this committee as well. We would really appreciate your input, your boots on the ground. You're out there working in the different organizations. you can help us to, look over the EEO plan and make sure that it's representative of, all of the employees here in San Joaquin County. So do I have any volunteers? A first volunteer?
What specifically are you asking for? I'm sorry, I misunderstand, I think.
So the EEO Plan Subcommittee would come together and review the plan and just give input, updates, any thoughts for modifications, language changes, and bring that back to the larger group.
After conferring with others outside of this group?
Well, we're hopeful that other members would join as well. Previously, it was a committee group, and we were all members that were part of it. But we welcome the public and their input as well.
Okay, if you could, I'd be happy to give it a shot. If we could speak later and you could tell me specifically what you're looking for, absolutely, I'll be 100% behind it.
Awesome. Thank you, Dominic.
And this is Oriana, just to address that really quickly, I think that part of the question, and just for the folks on the line too that may be interested, this wouldn't be planning during the EEO meetings. These are separate meetings where you would come together, confer, email meetings, however you decide to communicate with each other to come up with these ideas of what you feel should be addressed, or things that you feel are done really well in the EEO plan. So it's really just coming together for that purpose.
So I'll sign up.
I'll also sign up to assist.
Thank you, Sharon.
Count on me as well.
Thank you, Abe.
And Naja, what we will do from the EEO office is we will send a communication out to all of our EEO coordinators for people who might want to get involved, and we will facilitate connecting them with the people here who have already formed the group.
Thank you. We would really appreciate that.
When you talk about public, are you talking about not public employee county? Or are you talking about people are working like in a private business, or what are we looking for at the public? What are we identifying?
That would be employees.
What? Vet?
So public employees, so other people in other organizations. That county employees, so people in other the county
Okay.
organizations, we would like to have their input as well.
Like union?
So some could be union members. So essentially, here at the county, we have 7,500 employees, right?
Oh.
So there are 7,500 or more employees that work for San Joaquin County in 26 different departments.
Okay.
So whether it's individuals that are EEO coordinators or just general staff that may be interested in it, that may be on the line today, or interested in having a say-so in what's going into our EEO plan for the next 2 years. But it's not individuals from the community, other than you folks on the committee who aren't county employees, right? But you're committee members, so you're allowed to give authorization on things and suggestions.
Okay, so what you're saying is that with the subcommittee, are you gonna help them with a room? Are you gonna advertise it for us when we get together as a public? Are we gonna or we have to go one by one and say, hey, we're having a meeting, would you come over? Or are you gonna help us recruiting, and we go in and just ask, what do you think about identify equal opportunity, so to say?
So yeah, so Constance just mentioned, they will help us with recruiting. So they will help us to send out messaging and to make that invitation open to the coordinators and to the employees. what we've done in the past is we've scheduled time together amongst ourselves. So whoever becomes part of that committee, we would schedule that, and then we were lucky, one of our individuals always had space to provide for us to do that. But we could do our meetings over Zoom, which we have done some, or we can do it in person, but we have not looked to anyone else to provide space for that.
Okay.
And just note though too, as the county, if there was space needed, there are lots of rooms to be reserved here at the county. So if there was an issue with space and location, you would just reach out to the EEO office and say, you know, we want to have our subcommittee meetings this day, this time. Do you have a space? Let us know how many people, and we're more than happy to figure out accommodating space here for that.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. So we have a beginning committee. This is an open invitation. So please do reach out to the EEO office if you're interested in being a part of that committee, and we welcome you. So thank you. Now we are going to vote for the EEO-AC to work with the EEO office and HR to host the 2024 Diversity Luncheon. As Constance mentioned, that would be, if we do move forward with that, it would be on October 18th, 2024 at the Ag Center. So I'll go ahead and open it up to the members, if we could get your input on hosting the Diversity Luncheon,
I'm new, so
of
I
which
don't know
I'm
how
super
the
excited
feedback
to
is.
do it. Last year was off the hook. It was so great. So many people showed up. That room was packed, and there was so much great energy. Everybody had a wonderful time, and it was really great to be able to just celebrate the diversity, but to celebrate the employees. So I put out a yes.
Are you talking about the one in October, or you're talking about the one in Christmas? October. Oh, okay. So can I ask you a question, since I'm new, what are the food itself, do you go by restaurant, or do you talk about you're gonna cater? How did that go about? How are they based on?
We had several conversations and went through several potential options. And generally, it comes down to cost and being able to provide a decent meal for our employees to recognize them. We had a great time last year. We had great food. All that Chinese food was so delicious.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And, yeah, and so we work with the community. We look to use local,
Is this a matter of a
organizations.
vote? Is that what we're asking for?
We're voting if we want to host it again. That does include planning, working with the EEO office to do all the logistics and things like that.
Yeah, so the next item that's coming up, if you approve this, is to create the subcommittee for it, which makes the decisions of things like, what kind of theme are you going to do for that year? What kind of food do you want to have? What kind of decorations will we have for that year? So there's a separate subcommittee that makes all of those decisions outside of these meetings.
We're just
which
going for the green light.
We're just going for the green light, do we want it? And then once we want it, then we say, who's gonna help us do it?
Okay.
So
then-
But like
that's where we're
like
at.
Then I'll
the
vote
table
yes.
decoration.
You're, exactly, you're party planners. So you go from,
Okay.
yes, we want to do it, to who's on the party planning committee, right? Who's on prom committee? So, yeah.
Okay.
I'll vote yes.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to host the 2024 Diversity Luncheon.
I'll second that.
Okay. I'll third, or whatever, okay.
Okay,
Second.
Douglas, I'll let you make the motion. And
Oh,
Dominic
thank you.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're having a diversity luncheon. It's very exciting, and I think it's,
Is that when they give award or plaque to the?
so many.
Oh,
There
wow,
were
okay.
awards, yeah, there were awards and lots of, raffle baskets and
Ooh, that's
fun.
nice.
Yeah. So, it's a nice opportunity to recognize the employees and the hard work they do and, just how they embrace diversity and inclusion and equity. And so now with that, just as Oriana mentioned, we need to establish a luncheon subcommittee. And so who are our planners? We don't have any party planners in here? Okay, you already know I'm gonna be on the committee.
I will help as much as I can. October is my big month for Halloween, and I throw a huge party. So, I'll put my hat in, whatever I can do.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, I guess I'll ask, can we also canvass the coordinators now to see if they could be part of that committee too? I think we'll get to.
Yes, now that it's approved, we can have Constance's team send out, and I keep saying your team, we can have Constance send out.
Constance the team.
Constance the team, send out something to EEO coordinators to elicit support. And then for those who respond saying yay, then they'll get in contact with you.
Perfect, thank you so much. All right, so wrapping that up, we'll go into our annual presentation by HR Employment. Mike?
Oh, there we go. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Michael Lee, HR, one of the HR managers there. And today, well, first, thank you, committee, for having us here to give you our annual presentation. This is the overall presentation on HR employment services. So I have about 10 slides I'll go through. You guys might be asking, what's employment services? Well, it's basically our team. We do all the recruiting for the county, for all 26 different departments. But that's not all we do. We also advise the departments on anything HR related. All right, they told me, see if we get this right. Okay, there we go. The process is the goal of human resources to provide county departments with qualified and competent employees that represent our community through well-planned, innovative, and specialized recruitment efforts. Majority of recruitment efforts require compliance with our civil service rules, as well as the state and federal regulations regarding employment and hiring practices. So basically, we're trying to be fair and equitable across the board. Our recruitment processes include multiple steps, normally starting with the recruitment, then the application, then our analysts see if they meet the minimum qualifications, then we do some sort of testing, then we get an eligibility list, and then we refer names for interviews. All right. Okay, the department selection process. Department, depending on type of recruitment, they receive a list of candidates to fill their positions. Referrals based on demonstrated performance in a civil service examination. That's either written, a lot of ours are online now, either written and an oral exam. Sometimes we can do a rate out. That's where it's based on their experience and qualifications. Human Resources provides support and advice to departments on interviewing best practices to maintain legal compliance. Many of our positions require the pre-employment drug screens. Some require arduous physicals, and we do background investigations on all of our employees. But we're trying not to have any artificial barriers, so we don't do physicals on everybody. Only those folks or those classifications that really need it. All right, next few slides, we're going to go over some statistics. Right here, you see our application statistics. Over the last 3 years, you can see they've been going up pretty steady. Every year since 21. And it went from 22 to 23, we went up 26%. So it does translate, obviously, to more hires and directly impacts our county vacancy rate. So We went from last year 17% to right now we're about 14.6. Here's our applications by gender. We had some, let's see, so we had more applicants, but gender has changed slightly, not too much, with an increase of males by about 1.5%.
It's been a busy day.
Uh-oh,
Yes.
somebody's not on
Oh,
mute.
well, I have new
Those
badges.
on the Teams, if you would mute your microphone, please, we can hear you.
Okay, here's our applications by ethnicity.
I say Pelletier, but it could be.
This has been pretty steady. None of these went up plus or minus more than 1%, so it's really, really consistent on ethnicity as far as applications go.
Okay.
And if you need a new badge holder,
Okay, so employment services testing innovations, online testing we went to a few years ago. It's been pretty significant for us as far as getting more applicants to participate in the testing process. HR continues to utilize the online exam. So before our online exam, we would usually get about a 50% show rate for our folks coming to take exams. With our online exam, it jumped to 76%. It's obviously more mobile friendly and uploads the candidate scores for HR upon exam submittal. So it's not only easier for the candidates, but it's also easier for HR to score and get eligibility lists quicker, get names quicker to the department so they can do interviews quicker. The video oral board examinations, that continues to help, having oral board. When we have to do an oral board, we have to get members, 2 to 4 folks together to be the board and do oral board exams, and it's helped a lot to be able to do it virtually. Still difficult sometimes to get those boards together, but it's helped a lot. All right, review the EEO plan data. In the county's goal that our workforce reflects the community we serve. To monitor our progress, we review the EEO plan to gauge where we might improve our outreach efforts. A review of the current plan indicates underrepresentation, basically for all males, as you can see there. Next slide will show you the basic makeup of the county. So about 70% females, 30% males. And then you will see on this slide as well our top 3 reasons people do leave county. The reasons they give: 37% give resignation, about 21% retired last year, and then other employment is about 12%. Okay, looking to the future of outreach. Our social media branding, we work with CO office and we do their Twitter accounts and blast out our opportunities through their Twitter and LinkedIn accounts. Utilizing Canva, we went to a more attractive brochure on a lot of our recruitments to get folks excited to come apply. We established a partnership with our Employment and Economic Development Department, and we do 2 focused job fairs a year with them. We have increased opportunities. Increased internship opportunities with probation, Ag Center, BHS, ISD, and Oriana's team helps with those. We have a diversity boost we use with our careers in government. It's a website that we post all our job postings, and then we can do a diversity boost with them where they go out to a bunch of different diversity websites. And then our Hard Recruiting Incentive Program, we opened that up in October 22. That's been pretty good. We're giving bonuses for people for coming to work for the county. We're giving them sick leave from their current employer and bringing that with them. If they have public service, we're allowing them to bring that with them as well so they can use it here at the county. All right, then our board strategic priorities. Priority number 1 is organizational capacity technology utilization, and we have used that to start our online exams, our online testing. And always number 1 for us, but not just us, all the departments, is improving the recruitment and retention rates. I don't think that's ever gonna go away. That's always gonna be our bread and butter, what we do. We want to formalize succession planning, demonstrate our leadership development, and augment digitization and automation. And at this time, that's all I have. I know I talk fast, but if you guys got any questions, please share them now. And if I can't answer you, my team here will help me.
Thank you so much. That was great information.
All right.
I think my first question is, will you be able to share your slides with us?
Yes, of course.
That, yeah, I really look forward to the board priority and looking at how we can help support that. How we can help support getting, meeting some of those goals.
I have a question. I noted that you said the testing, did it go with affirmative action as far as, people, the question, are there like the level of grades, a competition or the level of, when you learn to get a job and you take a test, are there level of passing grade? Are there level of competition between those two? All that stuff. How do you qualify them as diversity?
As far as diversity,
We do make reasonable accommodations for people that make
Yes.
certain requests for things. So I think that when it comes to the testing itself, there's a standardized test that goes to everybody. If other accommodations and things like that are needed, then they can make a formal request with us and we will make that accommodation during the testing period for whatever that accommodation may be.
But how do you provide, like, for example, when I went to took my real estate license, they gave me instead of having 3 hours, they gave me a whole day just to take the test. And I didn't have to worry about finishing on time, and they just gradually could take my time.
Right, so those are the reasonable
how do you-
accommodations
yeah,
that
how
we
do you-
do.
how do
So,
you reach that?
so if somebody that's taking a test, they contact us to say, hey, I need a reasonable accommodation for this, I need unlimited time, or I need an interpreter if it's somebody that's having, whatever the accommodation is, they would just make the request to us, and we would make sure that we do what we need to do to give them whatever accommodation that is. So whether it's something like more time, or whether it's a space issue, it could be a wide variety of reasons why special accommodations are made. And so we do what we need to do to make sure that they get that special accommodation. The test itself always stays standard for everybody because it's part of our civil service rules to have the same standards. But there are often times where people do need an accommodation, even be able to meet that, right? So we make those accommodations, and then that's sort of how it's built into our process for ensuring that everything is fair and equal regardless of who it is that's applying for any role.
Even though the accommodations had been what the average norm of, but yet they had to have special thing and go to, are they gonna be able to select by those pattern for people with disability or people who are delayed,
So
whatever?
there's a ranking that happens for whoever did like best on the test versus worst on the test, right? And so we never know if this person had an accommodation at any stage. So it's really just who does the best on the test, and we take those individuals and they move forward.
Okay.
So there is no bias in that because it's built out of that, right? The accommodation happens under sort of a separate entity. So it's not that we're revealing, hey, this person scored number 2 out of 10, but they had a special accommodation for that 2 out of 10. That information isn't given. They rank number 2, they just rank number 2.
Okay.
It is what it is. And so then they would move on to the next phase, assuming that that's within the top rankings. So we're not putting that bias on those special accommodations, but we make the special accommodations for any given individual who needs or requests them.
So, okay, only human resource have that information, nobody else?
That is correct.
Yeah, oh, good, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We're gonna wrap up here, but I did want to open it up. Do I have any public comment? Hearing none.
I do.
Oh, go ahead.
Look up. Just kidding. You know what? I really am encouraged. I really feel like today was a more effective coming and learning and just getting some. I'm overwhelmed, but it's a good thing. You know, I'm learning and I'm hearing. I hope I get plan to get to meet all of you in person and even with you guys. You know, and being patient with me and asking, throwing a lot of questions. I bet you probably heard me ask a lot of questions, and that just to get that curiosity in my mind, and understanding that I don't want to. There's no such thing as a stupid question if I don't know it, So I like to be encouraged. I'd like to thank every one of you that came here and be part of this opportunity. I really am thankful.
Well, we
Thank God. Thank
appreciate
you.
the advocacy and the engagement, so I think that we can all kind of attest to that, so thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you, Douglas. We're glad you're here. Oh,
We may have a few questions in the chat.
okay.
So Darlene is asking, what is the diversity luncheon cover?
So essentially, it's a luncheon that happens once a year, and staff are invited. They would buy a ticket to get in the door, which gives them the meal and part of the party participation. The diversity luncheon itself, there's typically a guest speaker who speaks on the topic of diversity, and then different awards are handed out to individuals and to departments who have done something extraordinary in the way of diversity. And so there's a whole nomination process that happens within the county itself for nominations for those awards. Awardees are determined and decided within Human Resources, and then they are able to accept their awards at the event. So they're presented with those awards at the event. There's a lunch, and then there's a speaker who does sort of a keynote speech.
That was it. All right, and so that concludes our chat questions and comments. And so our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, August 7th, 2024 at 3 p.m. at the same location here, 44 North San Joaquin Street in the conference room 146, and we'll also have the virtual option as well. So we look forward to you all joining us, and we're hopeful that you will consider being part of some of those committees and sharing some of your insights with us as we work together to improve improve the retention, getting employees, but retaining them as well. So thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you. Have a great week.
I don't think Douglas signed it.
I did.